Test 1, 2. Good afternoon. The meeting for the Ribeiro Zoning Board of Appeals will now come to order. Could we rise and salute the flag? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call of the members of the Zoning Board of Appeals. Mr. Hamdan? Here. Mr. Lemonna? Here. Mr. Lopes? Here. Mr. Pelton? Here. And Chairman Tucker? Here. A quorum is present. First item on the agenda is application A2131 by Mario Zapage, seeking a variance to enable him to construct a two-family dwelling at lot 763 Reservoir Avenue.
How you doing?
Good afternoon. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Mario Zapage. I'm here for 191 Reservoir. I'm looking to build a two-family home next to the existing home. We're providing 4 parking spots, 9 by 18.
Okay. I apologize. I took you out of order because we were asked to take calendar item number 2134. I'm sorry. So if you just have a...
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So we'll continue on with this.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
I apologize for that.
It's fine.
Okay. So this is a continuance from the last hearing.
Yep.
We did ask for a revised plan to show that the parking spaces would be 9 by 18, which is now, we do have in front of us. So I will now continue on with the hearing, asking if there's any other proponents. Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents? Hearing and seeing opponents, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Okay. Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any members wish to speak? What's the wish of the members? Do you want to take these up as we go? Okay. Okay. So, having no further questions, I'd ask for a roll call
What's the motion?
to approve with the amended plan for the 9 by 18 parking spaces.
On the motion to grant...
One moment. Councilor has no comments. He's not opposed, not in favor. He wanted to see if anybody was coming up. I don't see anybody here.
On the motion to grant the relief requested on application A2131 to enable the appellant to construct a two-family dwelling on lot 763 Reservoir Avenue. Mr. Hamdan? Yes. Yes. Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Yes. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Mr. Pelton? Yes. And Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, this variance has been granted.
Okay, if we can take on calendar number 2134, I do apologize.
Sure. Application A2134, Robert Mahoney, 2 Paul Street, seeking a variance of minimum parking requirements to enable the appellant to reconstruct a two-family dwelling at 924 Winthrop Avenue.
Yes.
Good evening.
Hi, Robert Mahoney, 2 Paul Street, Ribeiro. Coming before the board to seek removing the 2 parking spots that were previously granted. Number of reasons. There's a historical wall on the property, as well as I was digging during in the parking area, I noticed there was some water running through the property, as well as when we put the foundation in for the property. And my concerns are there's going to be a water problem with that during the winter, during the summer, as well as undermining the foundation of the house next door. The property owner was concerned of what was going to happen when the walls were put up and if there was any water problems. So seeking to have no parking there as it was previously when the existing two-family was there.
Okay, seeing that it's a public hearing and it's continuance, I'd ask if there's any other proponents, anyone in favor? Hearing and seeing none, I'll ask if there's any opponents. Would you like to speak, Joanne? Okay. Then let me do the opponent and then I'll allow you. Any opponents? Anyone opposed? We do have the two on record from the last meeting. Joanne?
Joanne McKenna, Ward 1 Counselor. I just want to say that at the last meeting, my name was kind of thrown around a little bit, that I didn't want the wall to come down. And that was just in a conversation that I had with Bobby Mahoney. It wasn't what I felt. I mean, if they had to take the wall down and put a driveway, that was fine for me too. I was going on the recommendation of site plan review, Frank Stringy, and he did send me an email today saying that he was in favor of on-street parking. And so I just think it's up to the board. Whatever you want to do is fine with me. I just want to tell you that Winthrop Ave is congested. It is right now is permit parking because 24/7, because we have people that used to leave their cars on Winthrop Ave and walk down to the train station. And so people that lived there, the residents, had no parking spaces for 8-9 hours. So it is congested. I can see his point. We do have a problem from Bellingham Ave. Streams, we have streams all over Beachmont. We do have a stream, it's an ongoing stream that runs down Bellingham Ave onto Endicott Ave, runs across the street, and in the winter it does freeze. We have a real problem with that. We have to sand it all the time. The water and sewer are trying to cap it. But there are streams running through Beachmont all the time. So I'm just going to say to this honorable board, it's up to you on what you do, but those are the facts. It is a historical wall. It's probably been there for 200 or so years. It's one of a kind. I've never seen anything in Revere like it. The stairs, the wall, and it's on 2 properties. So that's another, recommendation for you to consider. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. I will tell the other members, I did have a conversation with Frank Stringy and requested that Mr. Mahoney go back to site plan review, which he did. Site plan review and the historic nature of this property, it was a home that went on fire, had 0 parking from the beginning. If the prior developer come in and thought that he could put 2 spaces there, there's a concern raised by the abutter to the right, facing the property, of this water table, that if he disrupts that, the gentleman who owns that is going to get all the water. That was raised to site plan review, and they are pretty much in favor of retaining the wall as it is, not only for the historic nature, but for the topography of the land, so that water does not affect the abutters units. So site plan review, and site plan review has the building inspector on it as well, that they would rather have that retained with the retaining wall to remain in place.
May I say one more thing? So across the street, it is up on a hill. So if they do disrupt the wall, and it does, the water's going to run down to the other side of the street, because that doesn't have a hill. It's on flat land. But all that land that's on his side where he's building, it is on a hill. So I just wanted you to know that too, so it might become a problem. Thank you.
Go ahead.
I think if we grant this, and knowing now that it is a historic wall, the new owners, if he sells the property, doesn't come and try to build a driveway there unknowingly, what's caused that wall is there for.
To answer that, they'd have to go back in front of site plan review. To do anything to that property, whether it's in the future, they'd have to come back to us, because it's a non-compliant lot. Am I correct? So they couldn't do anything without coming back to the Board of Appeals.
Right, so that wall can never be taken down, period.
If it's voted that the wall remains this evening with the suggestion of site plan review, I'm more concerned on the abutter to the right, with the water tables, that it could become an issue in the future.
Okay.
How about if you grant them the variance and the note to give them a permit for parking on the street?
This is not a dwelling over 6 units. That would be kind of impractical to do. We do that with larger developments because they have parking. When we do it to the developments on the beach, it's because there is parking in the property. Here, there'd be no parking. It would be like the historic nature of the old home. They'd park in the street. Any other questions?
Now, how do you know there is a spring in there? I mean, you're saying that, do you have any proof of
Yes,
that? Or geological plans showing the streams?
No, I dug the foundation as well as dug a hole in the parking area, and there was water coming down in through there from the foundation, the house foundation that was there. And before I built it, the water was coming out of the hill. We left the old foundation wall back there to keep the water from coming in. So we built the new house with the old foundation still behind it, holding the wall back in the water, trying to hold it back. So, and I've done projects in Beachmont similar to this, and there's been some serious problems with water after that.
And this historical wall, does it have any weep holes? I mean, if there's a stream, the water is going to go somewhere. So is it going in the ground in
I don't
there,
see
or
any-
there's a
I don't
weep hole in the
There are no
wall?
weep holes.
There's no weep hole.
No, this is like 2 feet thick, this wall. It's a very well-built wall.
Okay.
Many years ago. Well, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we'd ask for a roll call. On the motion to approve it as proposed. And we'd put the recommendations from the site plan review recorded as record.
Shall the zoning board of appeals grant the relief requested, subject to the findings and conditions of site plan review? Mr. Hemdan? Yes. Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Mr. Pelton? Yes. And Chairman Tucker?
Yes, I'm concerned about the abutter, yes.
Yes, the variance has been granted.
Thank you, members. I do appreciate it. Thank you.
Next application up is A2133, Samuel Ribeiro, 61 Geneva Street, seeking a variance of the minimum parking requirements to enable the appellant to convert a single-family dwelling to a two-family dwelling at 61 Geneva.
Mr. Chairman, members
Good
of the
evening.
board, good evening. Joseph Catogio, 1 Sprague Street, Revere, representing the applicant, owner of 61 Geneva Street in Revere. This is a continuation from our initial meeting last week where you asked for revisions to the plan. Those have been delivered to you along with some letters from abutters who have elected, although they're not able to come in, at least go on record as being in favor of this application. What the application is for a variance for parking. The house has been purchased by my client in 2004, and he purchased it as you see it today. I submitted a floor plan with the application. It shows bedrooms on both floors. It shows kitchens on both floors. It has been used in the past as a two-family. My client is looking to return to that use legally with the variance in place. The house was constructed for all intents and purposes as a two-family. The highest and best use of this property is a two-family. It doesn't make any sense to have a single-family 5-bedroom home with 2 kitchens in this area. It is zoned for two-family. The issue with this property there are two major hardships that arise with this property. First and foremost is the configuration of the lot, which only measures 40 feet wide. Had the builder of the house been able to set the house a little with a little more consideration to parking, which wasn't done at the time when those houses were being built in that area, the house would have been located at a point where two spaces would have been allowed on the side and 2 spaces would have been allowed on the front. That's not the case. The house, you can see, is kind of jogged. The side entrance cuts out into an area that prevents parking along the side. The front door prevents the 2 spaces in the front. So the configuration of the lot and the location of the house on the lot represent hardships, valid hardships that would allow for a parking variance. The other and more severe hardship is land that would otherwise be available to this owner that is not available because of a pipe in the ground. I've become very familiar with what is shown as Italia Avenue, which is the area adjacent to the home. That area and other sections of Italia have been abandoned by the city. You could see by some of the pictures that I included that the back portion of that paper street is not used as, is not even paved. There's a walkway that cuts through to the other side. I can report to this board that the area across Geneva Street, on the other opposite side of the street, was just Monday night abandoned by the city council. The area in back of that area was abandoned a few years earlier. Had it not been for a pipe that the city needs to maintain and services the area, this section of Italia Avenue would have been abandoned and available to my client, and there would be no need for a variance at all. There's more than sufficient parking. I would suggest that that area is still available for parking because it has no other use to anybody else. You can see in some of the pictures, if you look across the way, there's a white picket fence on the adjoining area that's encroaching onto what is part of Italia Avenue. That's been done without any problem or issue raised by the city. And I would suggest that the area on my client's side is more than enough area for additional parking that has no other use to anybody else. We wouldn't be taking away from anybody. I do not believe there is any opposition to this application. There wasn't any at the initial meeting. I did speak to the ward councilor. His email to me was that he is fine with this as long as there is no stated opposition and no issues raised. The parking, if it were needed, would not interfere with the walkway that's been paved in the back. And I would hope that this board, taking all of those items into consideration, would grant this variance, help out this family financially, and do it without any detriment to the neighborhood, any negative effect to the intent of the zoning ordinances, and in full compliance with the area which is zoned for 2 families. I'm here to answer any questions. My client is here as well if needed, and we thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Seeing that it's a public hearing, I'll ask if there's any other proponents. Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. The ward councilor did state that he has not heard any opposition from any one of the neighbors. So he has no issue. He didn't voice his approval, but he has no issue with it because there's no opposition. And in fact, they did discontinue the other portion of the street on Monday. They cannot give this to the abutter because there's a pipe and there's an easement. So he can park there, anybody can park there because it's just open land, but they cannot get the land. They would have gladly purchased it, taken it, whatever, but they cannot get it because of the pipe. Am I correct?
That's correct. I did.
Ownership rights to center lot.
Yes, it would be entitled, and I made the inquiry at the same time. I was the one who applied for the client on the backside, and I would have made the same application at the same time, but we were told that that wasn't available because of the pipe that's in the ground.
And my concern as far as the plan, they revised the plan and it has been stamped and approved and given to the city clerk.
Yes,
So it's a general question.
Sure.
Just for my own knowledge. By any means, was this an illegal apartment that got flagged?
No, this is, honestly, my client called me when I started working on the other side of Geneva Street. They saw me there with the abutters looking on that land. They asked if they could approach on this land. I went to site plan review and spoke to Frank Stringy, who indicated that there would not be a requirement if we could show that there was quote-unquote illegal use, but assessment as a two-family for 6 years, there hasn't been. Otherwise, we would have gone a different route. So it is not been flagged, there's no violations. We are here because I had initiated work on the other side, and they had hoped for the same, to obtain the land the same way, but when we saw that we couldn't, we were directed this
So it's
to
a
this
legal
route.
two-family without parking?
I'm sorry?
It's a legal two-family.
It would be, yeah, it's zoned properly, it's constructed properly. The only work inside the house is a door that would be required to separate the internal entrance. So in all other aspects, it would be a legal two-family.
Okay.
So for how many parking space you looking to use on this lot?
Well, we don't anticipate the full need for four. If you look at the plan, or actually the pictures with the one car parked in front, there is easily two cars parked on the paved area. Unfortunately, the second one would kind of cross over in front of the door, the front door, which is not considered a legal space. So there would probably just be the need for the two spaces, front and back, on that area. They wouldn't have to go across the street or the full width, just one car length for each.
Okay. Now, what about the next neighbors? If they ask, I mean, they can come back and they said, okay, we need two parking spaces, so we want to transfer to two-family, and we want to do that. I mean,
Well,
this will
they've-
come back on who?
As far as, if I can, as far as that goes, I don't want to speak for anybody else.
I know.
But they've already kind of utilized that same area. If you look, you'll see the fence goes over in the plan that we have. That fence marked over is already onto a portion of that Italia Ave. So for all intents and purposes, they've already done that. They've just not used it for parking. They've used it for a side yard. And again, there's no issue or problem, or, you know, the city's aware of it. They just need that open access for the pipe, which we would not interfere with this parking. If we had to, you know, get off and while they did any kind of repair, obviously, we would not, you know, we would not be there.
Okay, I'll ask for a roll call. On the motion to approve.
Shall the zoning board of appeals grant the relief requested for 61 Geneva Street to enable the appellant to convert his single-family to a two-family dwelling? Mr. Hemdan? No. No. Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Yes, Mr. Lopes? Yes. Yes, Mr. Pelton? Yes. Yes, and Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, the variance has been approved. Next item on the agenda is application A2135, Mario Zapage seeking a variance regarding a qualified lot to enable the appellant to construct a two-family dwelling on lot 670 and 671 Keeney Street.
Good evening. Please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Mario Zapage. I'm here for 53 Kinney Street,
You have to state your address.
78 Mill Street, Middletown,
Thank you.
Mass.
Okay.
So the lot is 4,300 square feet, and also we're providing 4 parking spots, 9 by 18. It's a shed on the corner of the lot that I'm going to keep. And we went to the site review, everybody was fine with that, and, you know, so the shed.
Alrighty, seeing that this is a public hearing, I will ask if there's any other proponents, anyone in favor? Hearing and seeing, and I'll close that side of the hearing. Any opponents, anyone opposed? Is there any opposition? Hearing and seeing none, I'll close that side of the hearing. The ward councilor again stated that he has not had any opposition, no calls to him, and he's not in favor or unfair. He has no comments. He'll take it as with the board. He trusts the board will make a decision. Any questions, anybody?
Now, the house that's for sale next door to it,
Yes.
when you put your two-family,
He's gonna have 4 parking spots too.
I
So
know
you're gonna
you
have
could-
8
This is
altogether.
different, that's not the right.
no, this is the right one. This is the lot that he's buying, that's the house that's for sale. That's the lot that he bought with the shed in the back, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah, right now I own the house and the lot.
You own the house and the lot.
Yes. So even when I'm gonna sell the new build house, they're each gonna have 4 parking spots.
They're both gonna-
9 by 18.
Wow, you can fit
Yes, plenty of room.
eight spots in
8
that?
spots, yes.
Wow.
8 spots,
So
yes.
you do my construction. I have one here, actually.
Okay, there we go. This is reservoir.
Hmm?
He's talking about Keene.
This is Keenan.
This is not the right,
This is not the right one?
No, that's a reservoir.
That's Reservoir, okay.
that's what I was trying to
Oh,
tell
you
you.
gave me the wrong one. Team. Okay, thank you. Okay. Oh, it's just, oh, it looks the same, huh?
Yeah,
Look at that.
I mean, you flip it, just make an opposite picture of the flag.
Okay, there's the shed.
That's the shed here.
Yeah, that's the shed there. So there was no side yard variance needed or on that? Really? Wow. That lot
Because
looks,
you already have backyard, side yard, it's
it's enough to put
pretty
a
big, yes.
two-family there, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, that lot looks very small. Okay,
You know why? Because the bushes make it look small. You know, you have those big bushes on the sides.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
It's gonna look nice. You're gonna put sidewalks, trees, beautiful landscaping, you know, so it's a beautiful area, you know.
Yeah, it's a nice area,
It's a
okay.
nice area.
Let me ask you something, if you're done. What is the size of that existing shed?
It's like 6 feet, 7 feet probably.
All right,
Long,
based on
6 by
that,
4.
the structure
Yeah.
as a shed structure to be legal shed, it has to be 20 by, what is it, 20 by 10? 200 square?
I don't know, I'm not
So
sure.
this shed is not considered as structure.
It has no foundation, nothing, just sits on top to a couple of bricks.
So
you know.
this is will eliminate that call, no?
It's a legal size shed. Any
Illegal,
bigger
yeah.
than that, you would need permission to put it up.
I mean, by 20 by 10, you need a permit, not for 10 by 6.
No, yeah, but his shed is small.
Yeah, so he doesn't need, so
No,
it's
he
not
doesn't need it,
considered.
yeah.
Yeah, but they
This
told me
is
to
will
come
take
here, so,
away
you know.
the,
Just put it on the plan, put it on the.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
There's a little bit different, these are a combined lot that he's coming in front of us on. So with the combined lot, if they make if the shed, he wants to keep the shed remaining, that's why he's in front of us. And then he has to provide the parking spaces, so he's providing the 4 parking spaces, which at first I thought that couldn't be done, but he did do the 4 parking spaces, 1 in the garage and then 3 out. Any other questions?
So, hi. My name's Chris Giarlo.
Okay, we closed the hearing though, so, are you,
I just want to know about the parking. There's going to be a parking garage space under the house?
yes, there's 4
Yeah.
parking spaces.
Okay, 1 under and 3 outside?
Yes.
All right,
If he can show, if you'd like to have him
Yeah.
show you before we continue.
yeah.
It was hard to see on that plan, that's why he brought the big one.
So this is the garage, and 1,
Yeah.
2, 3.
Yeah, so you're going to have 9-foot driveway, 9-foot
Yes,
driveway, 9-foot driveway,
Yeah.
1 under, and,
No, it's not on the right side. You see the parking right here. So you got 2 on the side,
Yeah.
1 garage and 1 in the front, so you got 4, 9 by 18.
and
No, those are the front stairs. Those are the front stairs of the house. yeah.
that's going to be the front stairs?
Yes.
So where's the other spot going to be over here?
Right here, you get 1,
1, 2,
3, 4.
oh, 1 in front of the garage?
Because the garage called it the parking.
I see. And how far off the street are you there? 18 feet?
Yeah, it's gonna be the sidewalks, you
Yeah.
know.
So it's going to be out to the pole?
Yeah, the pole, it's here,
Yeah,
probably, you know.
He's gonna be within his property, he can't be out on the public sidewalk.
yeah. Well, it looks like there's a telephone pole right in the driveway.
It's at the corner, it's at the very corner.
Yeah.
That was looked at by site plan review, he has access.
All right.
That's what I was told. I asked the same question, both of it. Thank you. Any members? Would ask a roll call on the motion to approve.
Shall the zoning board of appeals grant the relief requested for lots 670 and 671 Keeney Street to enable the appellant to construct a two-family dwelling? Mr. Hemdan?
Yes?
Yes. Mr. Lemonna? Yes. Yes. Mr. Lopes? Yes. Mr. Pelton? Yes. And Chairman Tucker?
Yes.
Yes, the variance has been granted.
Thank you so much.
No further business,
Having
Chairman.
no further business, our next meeting will be on December 22nd. Yes. Everyone, I'd like to wish a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.